A major winter storm is currently moving through a broad corridor of the central and eastern United States. Multiple precipitation types, snow, freezing rain, and sleet, are affecting regions from the plains through the mid-Atlantic. Infrastructure is under documented stress. The event remains in progress, and impacts continue to develop across multiple states. The affected corridor typically experiences winter weather between November and March, with infrastructure designed for periodic snow events and occasional ice. Road departments maintain salt reserves and plow fleets sized for historical averages. Utilities prepare for moderate load increases during cold snaps, and transportation networks operate with winter contingency protocols that account for delayed schedules and capacity reductions. Seasonal norms include manageable disruptions lasting hours to 2 days, followed by clearance windows that allow systems to recover. Infrastructure is built to absorb episodic winter stress without systemic failure. The baseline assumption across these regions is that winter conditions resolve before cascading strain occurs across multiple sectors simultaneously, and that recovery operations can begin while residual impacts are still being managed. The storm system involves a low-pressure center tracking northeast from the southern plains, drawing moisture from the Gulf of Mexico while interacting with cold air anchored over the Great Lakes and northeast. Surface temperatures are observed near or below freezing across a zone stretching from Missouri through Pennsylvania. A sharp temperature gradient exists along the storm's northern edge, where warm air aloft overrides surface cold air, creating conditions conducive to freezing precipitation. This configuration has been confirmed by surface observations, upper air soundings, and radar data. The system's progression is being tracked through standard meteorological networks operated by government agencies and private services. The low-pressure center is deepening as it moves, which is maintaining the flow of moisture into the affected region and sustaining precipitation rates across a broad area. Precipitation types vary significantly across the affected region, creating distinct operational challenges depending on location. Heavy snow is falling across portions of the Central Plains and Upper Midwest, with snow-to-liquid ratios indicating moderately dense accumulation that is difficult to clear efficiently. Freezing rain is documented in a band extending from eastern Kansas through central Missouri, southern Illinois, and into Kentucky and portions of West Virginia. This freezing rain is falling on surfaces at or below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, immediately forming ice. Sleet and mixed precipitation are reported in transitional zones, where temperature profiles shift with elevation or proximity to the warm sector of the storm. The distribution of precipitation types is not static. As the system moves and temperature profiles change, areas are transitioning between snow, sleet, and freezing rain. This variability complicates response operations and forecasting for affected populations. Sustained winds of 25 to 35 miles per hour are reported across portions of the affected corridor, with gusts exceeding 45 miles per hour documented in some locations, particularly in open terrain and elevated areas. These winds are reducing visibility in areas of active snowfall, creating blizzard or near-blizzard conditions where visibility drops below a quarter mile for extended periods. Blowing snow is limiting sight distances on highways to levels that make travel extremely hazardous or impossible. Wind chill values are dropping well below 0 Fahrenheit in northern sections of the storm zone, creating dangerous conditions for anyone outside for extended periods. The combination of wind and precipitation is complicating ground transportation, making road clearing operations less effective as snow is redeposited on highways shortly after plowing. These conditions are also creating hazardous environments for outdoor operations, emergency response, and utility restoration work. Electrical utilities across multiple states are reporting outages as of the current period, with numbers in the tens of thousands across the affected region. Ice accumulation on power lines and tree limbs is causing mechanical failures in distribution networks, particularly in regions experiencing prolonged freezing rain where ice thickness is increasing over time. Outage counts are fluctuating as restoration crews work to bring circuits back online, while new failures occur in areas where ice continues to accumulate. Cold temperatures are increasing electricity demand for heating, placing additional load on grids already under strain from physical damage to infrastructure. Some utilities have activated mutual aid protocols, bringing in crews from unaffected regions to assist with restoration efforts. The duration of the precipitation is preventing full restoration in some areas, as crews cannot safely access damaged infrastructure while freezing rain continues or where road conditions make travel to remote locations impossible. Numerous highways are closed or restricted across the affected states, with road conditions ranging from hazardous to impassable. Interstate corridors in Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio are experiencing significant disruptions, with some sections closed entirely due to snow accumulation, ice coverage, or reduced visibility that makes safe travel impossible. State departments of transportation have issued travel advisories or bans in multiple jurisdictions, urging residents to avoid unnecessary travel. Air travel is significantly affected, with hundreds of flight cancellations reported at major hubs, including Kansas City, St. Louis, Indianapolis, and Columbus. Airlines are experiencing cascading delays as crews and aircraft are out of position due to canceled flights. Rail freight operations are experiencing delays due to track conditions and reduced operating speeds in affected areas. The scope of transportation disruption is broad, affecting both passenger movement and commercial freight, with economic consequences accumulating as the duration of the event extends. In areas experiencing freezing rain, ice is accumulating on exposed surfaces at rates that stress infrastructure not designed for prolonged ice loading. Measurements indicate ice thickness exceeding ½ an inch in some locations, with accretion continuing as precipitation persists without interruption. Tree branches are bending or breaking under the weight of accumulated ice, contributing to power outages and blocking roadways. In some cases, entire trees are failing, bringing down power lines and damaging structures. In snow-dominant zones, accumulation totals are reaching levels that challenge snow removal operations, particularly where winds are redistributing snow into drifts that exceed 2 feet in depth. Structural loads on roofs and elevated surfaces are increasing where snow or ice persists without removal, creating concern about the integrity of buildings not designed for such loading, particularly flat-roofed commercial and agricultural structures. Emergency services are operating under constrained conditions across the affected region. Roadway access limitations are delaying response times for ambulances, fire departments, and law enforcement, with some calls taking significantly longer to reach than under normal conditions. Some hospitals in affected regions are reporting difficulty with staff reaching facilities due to road closures and hazardous travel conditions, while emergency departments continue to receive patients, including those injured in weather-related incidents. Warming centers have been opened in multiple cities to provide shelter for individuals without adequate heating, either due to power outages or lack of resources. Emergency management agencies are coordinating with state and local governments to allocate resources, including generators, shelter supplies, and personnel. The ongoing nature of the storm is preventing full assessment of needs while simultaneously extending the duration of system stress, meaning that emergency services are responding to accumulating demands without the ability to fully address existing situations before new ones develop. The storm system has been affecting portions of the central United States for more than 24 hours as of this period, with precipitation continuing across a wide geographic area and no immediate end in sight for some regions. The persistence of freezing rain in some zones means ice accumulation is ongoing rather than static, with each additional hour adding thickness and weight to already stressed infrastructure. Snow continues to fall in regions where totals are already significant, compounding difficulties for snow removal operations and increasing structural loads. No meaningful clearance window has opened for recovery operations to fully address accumulated impacts. Roads that are cleared quickly become impassable again due to continuing precipitation and blowing snow. Power restoration efforts are hampered by continuing ice accretion and unsafe working conditions. The lack of a break in precipitation is preventing systems from stabilizing before additional strain is applied, creating a situation where impacts accumulate faster than they can be addressed. As of this period, the storm has produced documented snowfall totals exceeding 1 foot in portions of the Central Plains and Midwest, with some locations reporting significantly higher amounts. Freezing rain has resulted in measurable ice accretion across a multi-state corridor, with some areas experiencing ice thickness that exceeds typical seasonal maximums. Power outages are confirmed in multiple states, with numbers fluctuating as the event continues and restoration efforts proceed alongside new failures. Transportation disruptions are widespread and ongoing, affecting road, rail, and air networks across a region spanning multiple time zones. The full extent of impacts remains undetermined because the event is still unfolding. Final snowfall totals, comprehensive damage assessments, economic losses, and casualty figures cannot be established while conditions persist and while large portions of the affected area remain inaccessible to assessment teams. What is documented represents the state of the system during active stress rather than after resolution, and is therefore incomplete by necessity.